welcome everyone to Google Next 23 machine learning startup session. I'm Ikkjin, one of the co-founder and the CEO of Moloco, and I'm here today with Winston, who is a product manager of GKE. All right, yeah, these are the contents we will cover, but this is all about how to build a scalable machine learning startup. Yes, yeah, welcome to 2023, I'd say year of machine learning. Everyone talks about ChatGPT, right? How many of you heard about ChatGPT? Anyone, right? How many of you have tried ChatGPT? Right? Yeah, everyone, right? I mean, is there anyone who hasn't tried ChatGPT? It's good, you should try, right? We are in a startup session, so how many of you are working at a startup, or how many of you are like a startup founder? Let's see, I mean, oh yeah, okay, good. Yeah, lots of people from the startup. How many of you actually applied machine learning your day-to-day service and successfully? Okay, good, good. Glad to hear. Glad to see that our team members are raising their hands. Yeah, right? Yes, everyone talks about like a ChatGPT and machine learning, but we often see like it's really challenging to apply machine learning in your day-to-day service in a really impactful way. Right? So yes, I hope the story we are sharing today really helps you actually to achieve your goal. And yes, we are here to help you. So if you have any question, you can talk to our team members. I'll be here after the presentation, so feel free to come by. But while, I mean, yes, everyone talks about large language model, LLM, and conversational or generative AI, I mean, also the hidden, like even bigger part of machine learning is applied to the services we are using day to day, right? Can you imagine actually what's actually the largest scale of a machine learning system today? It's actually, I mean, Google search ad engine, and also the Facebook Meta's like a social feed optimization, right? It's all driven by the machine learning. And this is same for the YouTube recommendation and Netflix recommendation, Uber or Instacart, route optimization, or like the ad programs, right? So I can share some of the, story among those companies, right? I personally was at YouTube in 2008 to 2010, and yes, probably, these are the story I really know, right? So I did a quick a fact check before actually today's presentation, so that I really kind of share the exact information, right? So I typed what was the YouTube revenue in 2009 on Google search box, and the first result was this one. It even didn't show the revenue number. The first result of the YouTube is doomed, right? And that's exactly how we felt in 2008. That was 2 years after YouTube acquisition. YouTube was acquired by Google in 2006, right? And if we fast forward now, now in 2023, they have more than 30 billion as revenue, hugely profitable, while people in 2009 really worried, hey, YouTube cannot be sustainable, right? And yeah, it's the fastest growing ad business, 16% of Google's ad revenue, right? So what changed? What changed from YouTube to a doomed YouTube in 2009 to fast growth, hugely profitable business in 2023? So from my perspective, there are two key factors, key technologies for this one. One is large-scale, very effective cloud infrastructure, right? And second part is advanced machine learning. So I mentioned I joined 2 years after YouTube's acquisition. Some of you actually might remember YouTube before acquisition. Some of you actually probably hasn't born at that time, right? YouTube's site was always almost down every week, right? Because at that point, building your own data center, keeping up the scalability issue was really a top tech challenges, right? When Google bought YouTube in 2006, they actually migrate or rewrite pretty much every YouTube backend code on Google data center stack, which is the previous generation of Google Cloud, right? So first 2 years basically make the service scalable and also reduce the serving cost, I mean, very effectively. And I mean, this is basically what like many of the startups in this room are doing, right? We are building a unique, also very effective service on top of the public cloud, right? Even after that, by 2009, YouTube was still burning $1 billion to serve all the global traffics. Ad revenue was only $200 million. Why? So when I joined first in 2008, I actually checked the BigQuery on how many data, how many videos we are showing ads, and what I found is we are only showing ads on the homepage, right? And at that point, there was still like 500,000 of videos on YouTube. But data from those videos and users like behavior patterns, watch patterns is not utilized. And given that, we are not showing the right ads to the right users, right? That's actually why YouTube was only monitoring very partially. If you're not utilizing the data from these 500,000 of videos, there's no way actually you can actually have enough profit to serve or entire the cost. And there's no way human can hand curate right ads for 500,000 videos. And at that point is actually when I realized, hey, machine learning is the key. When we launched first machine learning project, which was feature video in 2008, it really boosts YouTube revenue like 50% on the first day of launch. And yeah, the story after that, we already saw that, right? YouTube had a hockey stick growth. That was the first time I really felt how essential and how crucial, how powerful machine learning is for your business and your services. And that was like time actually I really felt like I got the answer for like my lifetime mission. So before we jump into the detail of Moloco, let's actually go back in times. And yes, I probably share some of my personal stories, right? As many of you in this room, I first used computer in 4th grade, very early days, right? And yes, I was a kid at that time. I always felt like a computer as like a living, like a puppy. And when I play game, like chess on computer, I felt like there's someone like sitting behind the screen and try to cheat me, right? That's actually how I got into the machine learning. I really want to see how I can make the computer smarter. And that's actually how I begin to study computer science and econ, because both the studies are about how actually to understand how people think, right? So when I got very too interesting, like a weird advice from my professors in my university. This is like late 90s. Oh my gosh, I mean, I've been doing this for more than 20 years, which makes me feel old. So first advice I got from my professor, right? When he saw that I was doing like double major in econ and computer science, he said, Ikkjin, if you want to start a company at some point, right, you probably should take a management school class, not the econ class. Because it's not my intention, right? I was more interested in understanding how people think. Another actual advice I got was, I mean, some of you might remember AI winter. So the Deep Blue, right? IBM's AI machine, like a bit grandmaster, human grandmaster in all the days. There's a huge expectation about AI can change anything, right? And then after that, actually, there's a mismatch between the expectation and the reality of technology. So that actually, a lot of people went through that AI winter with a very skeptical period on AI. And one of my advisors actually went through the period. He actually advised me that, hey, if you study AI or machine learning, you will starve. So you should not study machine learning, right? But I was a bit rebellious, so I didn't take the advice. But actually, that actually made me to focus on what real impact actually machine learning can make, right? And funny enough, many of our team members actually went through the same period, right? So my co-founder DJ, we are actually at the same computer architecture lab, which is basically very old. I mean, the conceptual version of a TPU. So at that point, our focus was how we can solve the computation problem to make the machine learning really workable. And our chief of machine learning officer, Tal Shket, I didn't know that actually he is a PhD dropout as well, like me. He also left the PhD program early actually to really work on the industry machine learning problem to actually make the real impact. Right? So yes, fast forward, I and Tal met at YouTube. I was a part of a YouTube team. Tal was a part of the Google research team. He was tech lead for the Civil, which is one of the largest scale parallelized machine learning platform at Google. So we actually applied Civil on YouTube. And yes, that was the first time actually I saw what machine learning can really change in real life. So after that, after YouTube, I moved on to the Android. I was first data engineer at Android team. I mean, I was so excited about the Android. This is like a data generated device, right? I mean, in old days, on desktop, you probably search, you booking travels, right? But the people's activity, the type of the data we are generating from this handheld device is, I mean, massive. We do the ride sharing, we do food delivery, right? Another unique part is we talked about like YouTube, we talked about Uber, DoorDash, how they are utilizing machine learning for their like business optimizations, right? But with the mobile and also public cloud revolution like a Google Cloud, right? What we are seeing, what I've seen from Android team is there's a very unique startup for each vertical, each specific usage on each country. Yes, we have a Uber for ride sharing, we have a DoorDash for food delivery here, but if you go to South Asia, there's a Grab. Actually, in fact, Grab actually kicked out Uber from Southeast Asia, right? And if we have a DoorDash here, there is a Delivery Hero, and we work with several of these companies globally, right? So each unique location and each unique vertical, there's a basically unicorn company in all of these countries. And these companies provide very unique value to the users, also have a very unique data on that vertical. All of these companies didn't suffer with what YouTube struggled in the beginning, because thanks to the public cloud, including Google Cloud, right? So they didn't have any scalability issue. Where actually they are still struggling, the next challenge they have is they're generating a lot of like a massive scale of data. Now actually they have a similar problem to what YouTube had in 2008. Now it's time to find the real value out from the data to have a sustainable, profitable, hyper-growth business. Still, the machine learning is key for that problem, and not many companies have the technology. So that's kind of when I felt like, wow, this is a big problem. Also, what I can contribute a lot. We can create real value through the machine learning. That's like when I decided to leave Google and decide to start a machine learning company. So this is the title of this page is actually not from me, it's from one of our co-founder, DJ. DJ was tech lead at Google Cloud at that time. Very objective. I mean, some of you actually smiling. Very also conservative. So yes, he was joining my journey. He said, yeah, I know 90% chance we will fail, right? I really appreciate that he still joined with a 10% chance. And one of our early team member, Jay Mani, also mentioned that, hey, Ikkjin, I really felt like this is a cliff jumping. But 3 days after, he said, oh, but I realized this is a bungee jumping. And I asked him, why do you think it's bungee jumping? Actually, I thought I will never have like an office lunch, but we have the food catering, startup services, like a full cover, right? And we actually really worried, hey, what kind of infrastructure we can use outside of Google, the data center, right? But we realized there's a huge public cloud toolkits we can use. I mean, we definitely didn't feel any difference when we are programming within the big company's umbrella and then outside, thanks to the public cloud, right? Still, we went through a lot of startup, like up and downs and roller coaster ride. Some of you, yes, here, who is doing early stage startup, I totally resonate how you are feeling now. So feel free to come by. I can probably share some of the emotional support. So one of interesting moment of a memorable moment of our company. So we are in the middle of a Series B round. Definitely we had a very short runway, which means actually we are about to bankrupt, and we are basically comparing between one fundraising term sheet and actually one of the Ikkjin term sheet from one of a major social network here. And yeah, I mean, it's like actually helping their like monetization, basically same thing, right? Utilizing their data for their profitable growth. We've seen how successful it can be and how impactful and financially, I mean, lucrative it can be from YouTube example, Facebook example. One of our team members, Simon, came to me and told me, hey, Ikkjin, we've done this once for YouTube, right? And I've done once for the LinkedIn, right? We know how impactful it can be, but we have a chance to actually have 50 different customers, right? Why should we just join another company and repeat what we did? So I agree. So that's kind of when I felt like, wow, yeah, we can actually build the infrastructure for everyone. And yes, Moloco grew within this bungee jumping startup ecosystem, right? We expedited our growth using a lot of service from payroll, using Gusto, and accounting services. Most importantly, we built our service on top of public cloud, right? And this is a great actual chance we can contribute back to the startup community. We can build very like a purposeful operational machine learning system and giving back to the other startup companies so that they can actually solve their machine learning needs using our system. So that's kind of how we grew the idea. And yes, we invest heavily on R&D. So first 5 years, we really focus on the building scalable, planet scale, generic machine learning engine, which we will actually share the more details later. And once actually we launched our first deep learning model in 2018, we begin to have a hockey stick growth, right? For the past 2 years, we grew more than 5x. We are profitable for the last 3 years. And yes, we mentioned about helping 50 customers. We have more than 1,000 customers. We have more than 50,000 advertisers on our platform from these 1,000 customers. And then this is basically when machine learning works, you will have this hockey stick growth, right? I mean, yes, this is a graph from our trajectory. We've seen the same thing from YouTube, right? If you see the Google search revenue chart, Facebook chart, you'll definitely find a very similar pattern. And this is also the pattern we are creating for our customers. So again, I mean, if you start off with machine learning needs, we are happy to share our knowledge, and we're happy to help you to have the growth from the machine learning. Yes, and from there, yes, we begin to also have industry recognition from Inc. And yes, a few days ago, we are picked as a Customer of the Year of Google Cloud, which actually we are really thank you. And yeah, again, like happy to share our knowledges. Yes, so what we built for the first 5 years, what we built, right? First, we built planet-scale infrastructure. Right? When we are talking about machine learning, people often think, oh, this is from like one algorithm, right? But we are talking about operational machine learning, right? How actually Google create like a 200 billion ads revenue, how YouTube create like a 30 billion ads revenue is, if you count, actually, if you divide Google's revenue from their search query, they're making like less than like $1 per query. But they are doing like a planet scale, right? So in our case, we are serving more than 600 billion ad requests per day with the deep learning within like 14 milliseconds, right? Either like this is 40 milliseconds shorter than like your eye blinking, right? So how big is 600 billion ad requests? I mean, how many people we have? Like 8 billion population we have in globally, right? So this is more like more than 70 ad requests. Or if you think this is a messenger service, right? It's actually the planet scale messenger service. So we are running a planet scale machine learning system actually to cover global traffic. So with that, we actually can serve the largest scale social networks or e-commerce company, food delivery company. We actually we launched one project with the largest smartphone company in the world, and at that point, with the additional traffic, we added less than like 10% over our entire global traffic. So yes, this is basically a foundation we built to help all the enterprise and startup companies. And yes, this may be, a bit the secret kind of the confidential information, but again, like we're happy to share our knowledge, information for our startup communities, right? So this is basically a very high-level block diagram of our system. Again, like this is operational machine learning. This is we are running this system, inter-system continuously for every second. We build serving the infrastructure using Google Cloud, the engine, and a compute engine, and then the green box here is our data infrastructure, right? We use data flow to collect the analyze log and put it back to our log repositories and the feature store serving system, like a big table, and then yes, we use the Google Cloud storage to store long-term log, and then most importantly, yes, we use TensorFlow, our deep learning engine. On top of TensorFlow, we are also exploring a TPU, the specialized hardware for the acceleration. But this is basically the high-level block diagram of what we built for the first 5 years. And using that infrastructure, the engine actually we built is, as I mentioned, our core purpose is building very generic engine which can cover different verticals, different locations, and very different types of data, right? So we, very simply saying, we have handled like 3 different types of data, right? User data, which is, your interest, your past browse pattern data, right? And then we also use the contextual data, basically where you are at now, what kind of page you are watching, what's in the page, context, and then campaign data, the matchiness between your campaign and the user context is very important, right? These are types of the big kind of the categories of data we are handling. But advanced machine learning based on the TensorFlow and the deep learning actually enables us to handle various types of user data, right? The user data when you are using food delivery app compared to when you are using ride-sharing app can be very different, right? But given the powerful machine learning, advanced machine learning actually enables you to handle all these different types of data. This is how we can have all different types of the startup and the enterprise company using our machine learning infrastructure. And yes, most important part is building a scalable machine learning team and the infrastructure. We talked a lot about the infrastructure, but before actually today's conversation, I had the quick chat with Winston, right? We actually both agree that it's not just one single algorithm, right? Building the great team culture and building parallelized, basically building a human PhD parallelism, right? So that we can explore many different machine learning models and having continued innovation. That's the key part, right? So we've been built that very strong engineering team. Still, more than half of our team members are on R&D, and among the half of our team members, yes, again, 25%, more than 25% of team members on the data science and the machine learning. So any single day, we are running more than 460 the different machine learning models. We are using more than 200 million examples for the single prediction. So this is definitely, the largest scale machine learning system to any other comparable companies. And yes, these are the quick summary of what we built for the first 5 years. And yes, after we launched it, we scaled quickly. We used GKE. Winston probably can share more details about GKE. But just a quick summary. We actually ran 4 different data centers, even from when we were 20 people team. right? So we cover the global traffic only with the 20 people. And this is, nothing new, right? When Instagram was acquired by Facebook, there was only 17 people. When WhatsApp, they built a global chat service with 30 people, right? Now, actually, with the public cloud and the containers and Kubernetes engine, you can build global services. And many of our clients are also repeating the same thing, right? With a very handful of engineers. So that actually, I will leave it to Winston to cover later. And so what's the next for Moloco? The main business of the Moloco Cloud DSP is growing fast. It became the largest independent machine learning-driven ad platform outside of the Google and Meta. Now, actually, we launched second new machine learning innovation 2 years ago, Moloco Retail Media Platform, which is basically helping e-commerce company to build their own profitable revenue stream from advertising program. Some of you actually might have heard that Amazon is earning like $40 billion from ad business. A lot of e-commerce companies, marketplace company, who grew fast for the last 5 years, right? Now, actually, they need to really think deep about how they can build a sustainable business. Last product, and a very exciting product we launched this year, is ad monetization for streaming and OTT services. You also probably heard that Netflix is launching the ad program, right? A lot of OTT programs, services grew fast during pandemic. Right? But now, actually, they are really thinking deep how they can actually continuously invest on the content while they are building profitable business. This kind of technology will be very essential for these startups, especially within this room, to have a sustainable, fast growth. And the one common thing of all of these three new products is all powered by machine learning. So machine learning not only enables our hypergrowth on the first product, but machine learning is also enabling us to launch new innovations continuously. That's what we are very excited about. And yes, this is our 10th anniversary of Moloco. Definitely, I grew up. Thank you. So yes, my lifetime question is how I can make the real impact using machine learning. And I'm so glad that we are creating real value for our customers and startup ecosystem. And yes, interestingly, 2023, everyone talks about machine learning, right? But still, I think we only unlocked the 1% of the true potential of machine learning. Yes, is the technology real? Technology is real, right? But building the really sustainable, long-lasting the business out from the technology, right? We are far frontier over there, but I wouldn't say we found the final solution. We are continuously working with our client. We are brainstorming with our client, definitely exploring heavily with the different models. So yes, we are happy to help your project, machine learning project. We are happy to brainstorm with you. But that actually excites me. And yes, I'm looking forward to the next 10 years. Right. Thank you.
That's a different clicker. Thanks, Ikkjin, for sharing yours and Moloco's incredible story. Ikkjin already touched upon a lot of this already, but I wanted to highlight 3 of the core benefits GKE will give to startups who are building and using AI. The timer never started, so I'll need help knowing what we're at time. Sorry. So the 3 benefits, the first one, performance and scalability, 2, cost efficiency, and 3, flexibility. So performance and scalability, GKE will start with you when you're small and scale with you to thousands of nodes, just like we did with Moloco, right? We'll be with you for each step of the way in your growth journey. And especially for AI, you need to be able to optimize to your performance and get to distributed, orchestrated AI accelerators as you build the larger models and deliver your applications to customers. Per scalability, GKE has unmatched support for the largest clusters. No other cloud advertises the same scale that we can achieve. And as I mentioned accelerators, GKE is your easiest way to access all the latest and greatest accelerators, both NVIDIA GPUs and TPUs. So whether you're doing data processing, training, fine-tuning, or inference, we have the right accelerator to meet your performance needs. Number 2, cost efficiency. I mean, let's be real, especially for startups, money can be tight. You have to be efficient with your resources. GKE will scale up when you need that demand, but scale back down to make sure that you don't have idle resources. Pay for only what you need when you need it. Any idle resources, that's ultimately wasted cost. And then as your resources grow and as your workloads grow, we'll give you all the tools so you can get the observability and hyper-optimize towards your cost budgets and balance that with the performance that you need. One of the ways that we do this is that we help you share GPUs. We hear from customers all the time that they see their GPUs are being underutilized, and they are a very expensive resource, and so you don't want them to be underutilized. What GPU sharing helps you do is get full utilization out of the GPUs, increase your workload throughput, and make sure that there's nothing idle. So what you can do is you have multiple workloads targeting a single GPU. So let's say you originally had 20% utilization. Well, then you can put 5 workloads onto that GPU and reach 100%. There's 3 main ways that we allow you to do that. It's multi-instance GPUs, multi-process service, or MPS, and time sharing. Multi-instance GPUs is a hardware way to partition the A100s and H100s. MPS is a software way to partition any of the NVIDIA GPUs, and GPU time sharing is time context shifting. Now, there's going to be trade-offs depending on which method you use, but ultimately, we're trying to give you all the optionality such that you can make sure to right-size those workloads. And lastly, flexibility. Startups need flexibility to customize, to try new things, and ultimately to innovate. You might need portability across multiple platforms or to meet your customers where they are. And your developers want to choose their framework of choice such that they can maintain maximum velocity. Kubernetes, it's a vibrant ecosystem of very mature OSS, and that gives your developers, your data scientists, your machine learning researchers access to any of the tools that they need rather than prescribing them to one bespoke way, right? As a startup, you move fast. Ikkjin talked about this earlier, so you have to experiment on many different models. You need to try many new things, and you don't want to let your technology stack limit you. And so GKE is your unified platform for that. Whether you're serving multiple teams or you have multiple workloads, both AI and non-AI, you can take any of the different OSS tools and put them on the single abstraction of your orchestration, which is GKE, right? Instead of trying to race with the pace of OSS, Kubernetes actually evolves and grows with OSS. And so you'll never be limited by the type of tool or your workload. You can always choose your best framework for your job at hand. Here are a few of the OSS tools that I just want to highlight within our ecosystem. So the first one, Q. This is a Kubernetes native framework for queuing jobs. This is one Google directly invests in, and it has really tight integrations with GKE. JAX is Google's Python library for distributed compute. It is actually the library that we use for all of our largest models. And we make this, obviously, it's OSS, but we also build it tightly into Google Cloud and GKE, so it's really easy for you to use to build your largest models. Ray, so this one is a unified framework to simplify distributed compute. This is becoming very popular with a lot of our customers, and so we've launched solution templates to make it easy for you to get started, and we're continuing to build that directly into the GKE experience. And then NVIDIA, obviously being a leader in accelerators with the GPUs, they have many different software applications that are hyper-optimized for their GPUs, and we partner directly with them to bring things like Triton, which is a inference server, or the NVIDIA NeMo framework, which is end-to-end for Gen AI models, directly into GKE. And then lastly, Jupyter. I mean, notebooks, it's kind of the gateway to data science and machine learning, and no AI platform is going to be complete without strong Jupyter support. So yeah, you should visit our startup lounge on the lower level. We have a program to help you, and you can get On notes it says up to 12,000, but here it says up to 350,000. And I think Moloco mentioned that they were successful with 100,000. So we have a lot of money to support you startups. You can get expert advice, customer success directly for you, exclusive events helping out startups. If you're not already part of the program, I very strongly encourage you to go to Startup Lounge and find out how they can help you. I'll pause if anyone needs to get the QR code. And then lastly, your feedback is super important. It helps us make sure that later sessions, next year's sessions, are the ones that you're getting value on, and your feedback will help us improve in future sessions. So with that, I invite Ikkjin back up, and I open the floor to Q&A. Anyone? Clayton, you want to throw a hard question at us?
So I guess the question is, and this is to the Moloco CEO, what is important for people thinking about growing ML of their own as they're starting out? Like, what are the most important lessons that you took when you're building your own models, when you're building your own platforms for ML? What are some of the things you'd recommend?
I think having this the operational machine learning concept is probably the most important part, right? I mean, in the past, a lot of people approached machine learning as just a one-off, like a fancy analysis, right? But it is not. If you see, again, like our examples, or like, let's say, YouTube or Netflix recommendation examples, right? I mean, you probably need to start from a bit like a product, like service, like a mindset, with also like a second part is like a data mindset, right? So basically, it's continue the training and continue the improvement, right? From the feedback data the data you are generating from your service and using it as a training and service, the training and the improvement data, and then from there basically you run the TensorFlow, and then and the prediction will make your service better, right? So a lot of companies fail to build this kind of the closed like feedback loop, and yes, from that perspective, this is also why not only just like TensorFlow or Jupyter Notebook, right? You also need a very strong like a data pipeline, also very strong the operational knowledge how to run this system, right? So this is actually why sometimes you have a very deep knowledge on your domain, but sometimes building all this entire operational machine learning closed loop can be very, time consuming, and also can be very challenging. This is why we actually want to help your company to shorten the time to market by providing a lot of the operational machine learning side as a service.
Any other questions? Don't be shy. Well, if you prefer one-on-one, you can find us on the floor. Check out the Startup Lounge, and feel free to come and reach out.